So, salutations and shit, guys. D. Carrie here, host of Travel and Shit podcast, and I am here with my beautiful cousin, me as an adult, the fantabulous Airbnb host, Richelle. Say hi to the people, Richelle.
Hi, people.
Thank you so much for sitting with me in your luxurious home. We're in Brooklyn, where you have. How long have you been hosting here?
For the last 6 years.
Okay. And you guys have been here forever. Apparently, this is a family home
family home that I just gave you information about.
Right. So,
your father has lived here.
And then my grandma lives
your grandmother
here,
and your grandfather lived here. Our aunts and uncles have lived here for the last since 1960. I couldn't do that math very quickly. Since 1960.
The good asked me to help you either. Numbers ain't my ministry. So the family's been here since the 60s, and you are now here offering of your home and of your hearts to the lovely people that like to visit Brooklyn.
Yes.
So what part of Brooklyn is this?
This is Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Okay, I was going to say Bed-Stuy.
Do or die, Bed-Stuy, yes.
What has your experience as a host been like? Is this something... Well, clearly you've been doing it for so long, so I'm assuming that it's been a positive experience.
It definitely has been positive.
Okay, so how did you get into Airbnb?
Initially, we had the top floor that was available. The boys were going, your cousins were going, one of them was going away to college, and we needed another income. So we were thinking about renting, and we had never rented before because this has always been a family home. It's always been family, friends. There's never been a rental sort of situation. So we started the process of trying to get it rented, and it just didn't feel good.
Okay.
One of my friends was a realtor. She put it on, and it just didn't go well. Like, I was just not feeling good about it. And another friend was doing Airbnb on the next block. She said, maybe we should try Airbnb. You know, you can rent it, you can get the income you need, but the people don't stay.
Right.
So I said, okay, maybe we'll try that route. And we did that, and we never looked back.
So I know that you have been the face of a couple of... Well, how many did you do, Airbnb campaigns? I know it was the one in the newspaper. I know there was a commercial.
So initially we did the commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was 2 summers ago.
What was that like? How did you get into that? Are you like the top Airbnb and...
Well,
How does it... Yeah.
We didn't start for political reasons. Like I said, we needed another income.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very political because New York City doesn't want Airbnb. It's been this kind of battle between hosts and the politicians, and this kind of back and forth thing. So we really got engaged on that level with Airbnb, going to Albany, fighting to have our right to use our homes the way we want to use them.
So what was that argument? What is that?
So what they were saying at one time, what they're still saying, is that Airbnb is taking away low-income homes from people.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we said, this house has always been a family home. There's never been really renters per se in the home. So that we're not under that bracket.
Right.
So you can't tell me that.
Okay.
That argument doesn't suit us.
Mm-hmm.
So I should be able to use my house the way I want to.
This is your property.
It's our property. Yeah. Right. So another one is that it was Airbnb is the reason for gentrification.
Mm.
So prior to Airbnb, gentrification was going on. So it seemed that Airbnb has become the poster child for everything going awry in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of going to Albany, and a lot of hosts were just telling their stories. Like, this is why I do Airbnb. And it's been so amazing because you meet people that, worked during 9/11 and that got sick, that got cancer, couldn't work, had no money. So Airbnb became their lifeline. Mm-hmm. People who are disabled, Airbnb has become their lifeline. People like our story, we need another rental income, kids going away to college, we need another income, Airbnb, and it's work for people.
Right.
So how do you sell people that own their own homes, that are not asking for a handout from the city, that you can't do this in your home?
Mm-hmm.
So we were just fighting that fight. And, I was around a lot in terms of Airbnb, going to different functions they had. They are philanthropists. They were doing different things in the community, like cleaning up the parks, going to schools and reading for the children. So I'm about that. So I just got very involved And I guess when they were doing the campaign, they reached out to us and said, would you like to do a commercial? Never did I think that it was going to do what it did, but I just said, okay, yes, because we have been a part of it doing so many other things that it just seemed like, okay. But it really blew up to be
a thing.
Right. Yeah, a thing. Everybody I hadn't seen all my life since high school, they were calling like, oh my God, I saw you on TV, I saw you on the radio, so it got to be a big thing.
Mm-hmm. So how is that? Has it changed at all? Is there, what is the current status of, I guess, the political stance of Airbnb?
It's just this right now. It's been very quiet because the summer just passed, and most people are on vacation. In terms of politicians and Albany, so everything is kind of quiet. It's been quiet, but it's just this weird space because even when we were going to Albany, they were saying that if you were in a 2-family house and you lived in your house, it was okay. Mm-hmm. But then they were saying, no, that's not okay because if you're doing short-term rentals, it's not okay because it becomes the illegal hotels. Mm. So it's weird because if you're not doing it for 30 days or more, then it's not legal. And then if you do it for 30 days, it becomes something else because if people stay in your house for 30 days, they have squatters' rights.
Right.
So it's just this weird space as hosts we're in. We just really don't know where we are.
Got it.
We
so
just
they're not telling you can't do it at this point. They're just making it kind of gray so that
it's very gray. Mm. It's very gray. But the one thing we do is I know in Bedford-Stuyvesant, our politicians have really come out for us, showed up and said, you can't do this to our constituents. Because at one time they were bursting into people's houses, waiting for guests to come in the house. And then coming in, and then they were fining you egregiously. Like they would come in and say, "Oh, you have a lock on your bedroom door. That's $1,200. Oh, you have this," and they were fining people like it was bad.
How do you find somebody having a lock on their bedroom door?
You're not supposed to have a lock on your bedroom door, but who knew that? I never knew that.
Plenty of people have locks on bedroom doors.
I never knew that until we started doing Airbnb.
What if your brother's a thief? Why all of a sudden
you are not
illegal to have? Get the fuck out of here.
You are not supposed to have a lock on your bedroom door. I never knew that. I'm not gonna tell you how old I am, but only since I started doing Airbnb did I find out.
And that sounds like something my mother would say because there were no doors in her home. Like in her house, she's the adult, she's the grown one. There are no doors.
Exactly.
But that whole there are no. Wow, that's.
So they were things that were on the books that they never really used enforced.
Right, now
they began to enforce. Yeah, and they were charging they were finding Airbnb hosts more money than they were finding people that were slumlords. Right. So, and then they were saying that another argument what they were having was that in multi-dwellings you're not supposed to have an Airbnb because they were saying that owners were closing out some apartments and just doing Airbnb because they can make more money. Mm-hmm. So people that in those sorts in those cases were being fined, but people that were in their own home were having to pay the fines. But the other people were having many scapegoats where they end up not paying those fines. So it was people like me that work every day,
right.
had to pay these fines, and people were starting to lose their houses because they were finding them so badly that they couldn't afford to pay the fines.
Wow.
So this Airbnb thing and hosting thing is not as easy as some people think. We've just really been battling.
Right. So do you guys have like a network within your community of different hosts like in the area?
Yes. So one thing about Airbnb, they brought a lot of people together because a lot of the hosts met because of meetups that Airbnb would put together.
Okay, for hosts.
For hosts, so in different communities. So in our Brooklyn community, in Bed-Stuy, there's a host community. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are, there's a host community that Airbnb puts together.
Okay.
They have put together.
So you guys do like lunches or dinners or
yeah, and they organize, like I said, meetups where there'll be days where you clean up a neighborhood park.
Okay. Or you guys are the ones that are coming.
Well, Airbnb sets it up, and then you volunteer and you come out, and then you start to meet other people. Okay. And then from that, you have smaller groups that pop.
You were telling me about one of those really huge Airbnb meetups that they did in the one in, I think, was it LA?
Oh, LA, and that was really
one was really cool. Tell me about that.
That was not a meetup. What was that? It was like, what do you, when you go somewhere?
Like a conference?
A conference. So it was amazing. That was in LA, and we actually went, and they had different workshops for hosts. You met other hosts. It was, I think, 3 or 4 days, and you went there, and from like just relaxing situations to, I think Eric Holder was there.
Wow.
Yeah, he was working for Airbnb for a little while. So he was there. He gave a seminar. There were other different philanthropy groups like Tom that does the shoes. They were there doing a workshop. So it was well put together. You know, they had other hosts that were also there talking about their hosting experiences, and how some hosts just host to give money to different groups around the world.
Interesting.
You know, so they just host to, like, say, a village in Africa or something. You know, like whatever their thing is, that's why they host. So they have really amazing people with amazing stories, and it just brought people together from around the world, and that's my thing. That's what Airbnb does. It brings people together from all walks of life. People that you wouldn't normally meet, you meet them through Airbnb. And I feel like it makes the world a smaller place.
Okay.
When I'm with my daughter at a roller skating rink in Long Island, and my guest from Russia is calling me to say, hey, I miss you, like, how you doing? You know, or a guest calls me in the winter and saying, oh, from Australia, oh, I heard you guys have a really bad storm. Are you okay?
Yeah.
It makes the world a smaller place. You know, with all that's going on, it brings people together.
I know I've had some really great relationships with people that I've met while I've traveled, whether they be a host or people that I've encountered on different excursions and just out and about and stuff like that. But I feel like as a solo traveler, for one, I definitely enjoy being able to stay with regular people.
Yes.
And interact with regular people, because it gives you a certain level of there's someone that you can check into that will actually, you know, that cares about how you're, you know,
it's a level of intimacy with people.
Yeah. And I know, for example, Tone. Hi, Tone, if you ever see this. She was my host in Norway.
Okay.
She was so accommodating to the extent where I felt like I was staying like with family. Like, you know how if you were to go stay with family that you say never met before, but it's like,
I definitely get it.
My dad says, all right, go stay with
on so
and wherever, and I'm like, I really don't want to pay for nothing, so I guess I will. It felt like that kind of experience. She picked me up from the airport because she's like, oh, it's a little late here, so, you know, I know the buses and trains aren't going to run. It's kind of cool. I'll come get you. Don't worry about it. Hey, before we get home, let's stop at the grocery store because tomorrow's Sunday and nothing is going to be open. If you're going to want to eat, you should probably pick something up. Don't worry about it. Take your time. I'll be here in the parking lot waiting for you. Hey, I'm actually going to make myself some pizza. Do you want to eat with me? And then it's like we sat, she handmade pizza. She didn't like take out like a DiGiorno from like the freezer. Like, she made us pizza, and we sat, we had wine, we talked. It was so great.
It was an intimate relationship that was forming.
Absolutely. And I've had hosts that do tours for me in the area that I'm staying. That's what really made Casablanca really nice, because I was only there for like 20 something hours, like a little less than a day. So a good usage of my time was the best decision for me to have made that way, and just her being able to offer that service as opposed to me having to then meet up with somebody else. Yes. I'm already here. She made me breakfast, gave me time to put my stuff together, then was like, all right, we're on our way. So I've definitely benefited from you know, having really great hosts abroad like you guys are here. But I do understand the argument that I guess housing situations are complicated because of people that are hosting. I know when I've been, say, looking for Airbnbs while I've been traveling, you start to get a feel for like those hosts that I'm not on site, but I'm very, you know, easily accessible. Now, it's one thing where I know in some countries it's been where I'm not on site because I live downstairs, or I'm not on site because I prefer to have the entire space to myself. I don't like the shared room thing. I like having like my own apartment or house. And then there are ones, well, you know, I live with, you know, my kids here, or this is and whatever. So this is the space there. But then you also notice the ones where what was I saying? I don't remember what I think I was looking for a place in Atlanta because we're going to Atlanta next month.
Okay.
It may have been Atlanta. I might be lying to you. Anyway, we have 12 units in the building.
Yes.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So I can see how that is.
Yes.
Like, you're 12 units. Like, people could be living here.
I
Families
agree.
could be here. I see how that is an issue where people are just buying property up.
Exactly.
People are buying like, if you live here, you buy 3 houses in Detroit. And then you just Airbnb it out.
Yes.
Unless you're having someone say, you know, I can see if maybe you're employing people in that area to come in, be groundskeepers or property managers.
Live in one floor, take care of the apartments.
And now you do this. That I can foresee as being, you know, a reasonable difference. With somebody that just has a ton of property units in a property, or somebody that just buys property abroad and, like, you never go there yourself. It's one thing to have, like, I know some co-workers have, like, one lady, another job, her and her husband had a house in Florida, and they were renting here in New York because it's just, you know, space-wise, it just works. It worked for them. Mm-hmm. But they would rent out their home in Florida.
When they weren't there.
Exactly. Now, they had a long-term renter, but they had said that we're never going to go down, so for us, like, it doesn't make sense to keep Airbnb. And for us, it works to have someone in there full time.
Exactly.
But I had another coworker that's like, I go down a couple of months out the year. I don't want somebody that's going to be there at that point. So it's just like, I'd rather let somebody else come in, earn an income, pay for my mortgage on my summer home.
Exactly.
And then just, you know, I enjoy it with my family.
And that's the beauty of it, because you can block your calendar as necessary.
Here we are in your Airbnb here.
Exactly. And when Auntie Trisha and Auntie Sister came, we had a family something. They were able to stay here because I had to block the calendar, and they can
their
come.
Own space. Your family's not staying on top of each other. It's like you don't have to share the room with, like, Courtney, so that you know she can have.
That would not happen. That would not happen.
But yeah, I can see that I understand, but I feel like there should be more thought.
But I know exactly what you mean, because people are doing that.
And
that's what makes it bad, because it's supposed to be a shared economy. It's not supposed to be people renting out, buying 12 apartments, and then renting them out. That's another business.
Yes, and
that's
I feel
not
like
a shared
that
economy.
Should be those are the people that they should target. There should be some
and
type of differentiation where it's like someone that's just doing this is like, I own my house. How are you going to tell me what I can do with my house?
Exactly, and that has been the argument. Target those people, because those are the bad actors, as they call them.
And I was reading. I don't know if I was reading an article or if it was actually something that was like on Netflix. I don't know. I think it was on Netflix. There was something, because I remember them showing like one of those graphics where say there are 12 listings. Of the 12 listings, only like 3 of them are people that are doing predatory listing or something like that.
And
it's
thus
like the vast majority
is life. You're always going to find people in whatever situation it is that are going to be doing the wrong thing.
Absolutely.
So people that are doing the right thing should not be targeted because of the people that are doing the wrong thing.
Right.
And that's been our argument. That's our only argument. And then, if we have to pay taxes, let us pay taxes. Whatever. Let's come to the table and have a talk and figure out how to make this thing work in our city.
Right.
Because people, how do you tell other people that they can't choose where they want to stay when they get somewhere?
You know, then it just makes it a monopoly for the hotels.
And that's what it's been. And technology changes, and now traveling is changing. How people travel has definitely changed. How do you decide for me how I travel?
I feel like Airbnb has made travel way more accessible for me. Like, now having the conversation, I'm realizing when I was even looking when I go to Atlanta next month, I was looking at hotels, and I'm like, no, because I'm not staying I don't want to stay in a comfort inn in the middle of no place. You know what I mean? I don't want to, and that's within, say I'm like, all right, I don't want to spend also more than $60 a day, $65 a day. The only options for that is like a really dry hotel bed with maybe a window and in the middle of who knows where. Whereas if I can spend $60 a day, $65 a day, I can have an entire apartment to myself.
Exactly.
A full apartment. I can actually have something that's got some character. I can have something where I can cook. I can have, you know, a full bathroom versus, and I feel like somebody's going to clean an Airbnb better than they're going to clean a hotel, because this is someone's property, and I feel like people clean their stuff better than like somebody that's hired to clean something.
And then there's those reviews. So
absolutely.
You can read
yes.
the reviews are very important. You read the reviews
I
and you
do.
See, nobody does me a favor by saying good things about me. If that wasn't their experience, then they're not going to write it because that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's about you saying what your experience was when you were there. And that makes it easier for somebody else. Because people say, oh, I read your review. That's the first thing they say. Oh, I read your reviews. I read your review because those are so important. People want to know what the past person's experience was.
Yes, and I especially like that I can see when they left the review. It was October 2018 or 2019. So I'm like, okay, well, they were there this month. Or they were just there last month. So them saying the bathroom is gorgeous actually applies as opposed to,
somebody was there a year ago.
Right. Things happen. Life happens, whether it be like a hotel or even an Airbnb. But they're so much more accessible just because of the price. It's so hard to find a hotel that's not in a road someplace next to nothing else.
Beaten road, yeah.
Or like by the air. Exactly. I'd rather be, and then also when I travel, for me, a lot of what I enjoy about travel is being able to immerse myself culturally and just be in the space where regular ass people live.
Exactly.
So that is not something that I'm getting from being in a hotel. It's like a Marriott is a Marriott wherever you go. The only thing difference is the language spoken at the Marriott you go to. I mean, it's still going to have the same powdered scrambled eggs.
The same
it's still
thing.
going to, what I mean? It's just they may have a couple of different things different about the food they give you because,
culturally.
Location. But I mean, I don't like the idea of staying on resorts because I don't feel like you get to really participate in the community or even participate in what it is that area has to offer to people as a tourist.
I just know for myself, and living in Bed-Stuy my entire life, there was when we joke about Bed-Stuy do or die, people didn't want to come to Bed-Stuy, but most of the people on this block, maybe not now, but as growing up, they were the same families. People died, the children took over the property. It was just like a generational thing. And we've always had good people that lived on the block. It's always been a neighborhood where it's like family.
You love your block, right?
Yeah.
Always trying to get me to come. One day I'll come.
One day you'll come. One day you'll come.
Yeah, y'all was killing me with that weird white. I'm like,
it was a beautiful all white party. We had a good time. We turned all the way up. You don't know what we do in Brooklyn.
I don't own white shorts.
I'm sorry that your parents raised you in Queens, but Brooklyn is a very special place. And unless you lived in Brooklyn, you don't know.
No, I get it.
You get
when
it.
People ask me, so what's the young lady yesterday? Michaela was asking me, so what's the style like in Queens? And I'm like, I live in Queens.
That's not what I do. Yeah, that's not what I do.
That's it. I just live in Queens. Like, there's nothing really special about Queens, per se. I just like it. I just like that. I like it because my family.
I was gonna say because your parents raised you there.
My family. I don't like it because it's fun. I like it because my grandma's 5 blocks away.
And your father grew up in this house in Brooklyn, so ask him where he comes from.
Yeah, I know he's from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn all day.
Yeah, I get that.
But he's all that Queens life now.
He was on last week's episode, but
you and your father, I can't with you
freaking frat.
I know. Ride or die. I need to see that. That must have been very entertaining.
Wait, what the kids do? Right? No?
I don't know. I'm older than you.
No, but I did it. I remember I did it at the barbecue and Courtney's like, you did it. So I figured she'd done it for you. But anyway, so what has your experience been as a traveler now that you're a host?
I feel like I'm almost critical.
I feel like
I'm
you're critical. I mean, who are you?
I'm almost critical now because I have certain expectations.
Because of what you provide for other people.
When people come here, I want to make sure that they feel at home. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them when they come in, there's water, there's juice, there's things that you don't have to run out immediately for.
Tell the people what you provide for your.
So we have when you come in, the apartment is beautiful anyway. So when you come in, it's beautiful.
It's quite fly.
But we have
if you will.
water in the refrigerator. We have Pellegrinos. We have orange juice and milk. We have bagels and eggs, so that people have something to start with.
Right.
You don't have to run out immediately. Coffee, tea, we have all these little cutesy things for them. And it makes you feel that more comfortable.
Yes.
So when I go to an Airbnb, when I'm traveling, just give me some water at least.
Yeah.
You know, when I get in the building, there needs to be water in the refrigerator somewhere. You know, and if I find nothing, I'm greatly disturbed, because it's about hosting. What is hosting? Mm-hmm. When you host for people, you know, you try to pull out some amenities for them.
Yes.
So when there are none, I'm very disappointed.
You didn't read those reviews, did you?
But
sometimes they don't put that in the reviews.
Because
sometimes
you know, I'd rather people not, when they leave, I'd rather them not say, oh, the refrigerator. I don't want people to know. I want you to sort of be surprised.
Okay, yeah, it's like, oh my God, such a pleasant surprise. Like, oh, this is
nice. The other day, these two women came. They were from Trinidad, and they got here late. It was like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and they were like, "Is anything open?" So I said, oh, "I think let's order some pizza, right?" So we ordered the pizza, and I went downstairs and I bought them a bottle of wine. They were like, "Oh my God!" Like,
that's so nice.
But because I understood that you traveled late, you need to relax. You're winding down. It looked like it was a girls' trip, so why not start with a bottle of wine?
Right. I mean,
but they wrote in the review, "Oh, she gave us a nice bottle of wine." I don't want everybody to know all the things.
I get that, but I know that those are things that I put in there just because it's like I want other people to know how special someone else has made me feel in that. Because I know that.
Because there's some folks gonna start looking for wine when they get here,
and
it might not be for you. You might get some chocolate. You might get something else. You know,
bag of apples or something.
Exactly. Whatever.
I don't know why that's the first thing.
Oh no, because it's apple picking season. I don't know. You wouldn't know that. I know you wouldn't know that. But I don't always like people to tell because I like to have a little surprise.
Yeah, something in the bag. Pocket, throw it there.
One woman came and her it was her son's 21st birthday. So I said, what are some of his favorite things? Some of his favorite things. So I put them together, a little basket. I mean,
that's so cute.
Gatorade and little candy, whatever. I forgot what she told me it was, because it was his birthday and I wanted him to feel like it was something special for him. You know,
that's nice.
So little added touches. Or if it's somebody's anniversary, we'll put happy anniversaries all over the place and have things hanging, because sometimes people tell you why they're coming.
Yes.
So when they come, we just kind of surprise them with whatever that thing is for them. So yeah, little added touches are important for me.
Who have been some of your favorite guests?
Favorite guests. There is a woman from Australia, Kathy, if she ever watches this, who is my bestie now. One day I don't know how we just, because it's, you know, it's something magical when people come in your house and they stay with you. It just kind of binds you. You know, like it's a weird connection, and unless you've done it, you don't understand it.
Right.
Because you start when you messaging people back and forth and about, you know, staying at their place, and when they get there, it's like you don't know them, but you sort of know them.
Yeah, you've built
like this
that
connection. Yeah. And then when they stay with you, it's just like something happens. You know, like you checking on them. How you doing? You okay? You need something? Whatever. So I don't know. Kathy and I just got connected. And I always remember she was on the top floor staying with her family. And I was down here about to clean up or do something. So she just came, started talking to me. She said, I'm going to help you clean up. I said, Kathy, what you're not going to do is you're not going to help me clean up. I said, we can talk and we can kiki, but you are not going to help me clean up. And I think that was she was one of our first guests, maybe like 5 years ago. And we have stayed connected to this day. I actually just texted her because her daughter's in Texas. And I forgot what part of Texas she was in. So they had that thing in Houston, you know, the flooding. So I just said, oh, was Karina okay? Whatever. You know, so we've remained besties. I mean, we email each other every 2 months to give each other a recap of each other's lives and kids and yada, yada, yada. So Kathy and I, we really had a good time. Yeah.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. And then I think, because, you know, I'm the mother of 3 and then the family mother, you know, of all of you youngins. Airbnb had a group that came, they sponsored them. I forgot what they were called, but it was a group, the kids came from all over the world. Airbnb called me and they needed a space for them and they paid for them to come and stay. So the guys were upstairs and the girls were down here. And it was the cutest thing because it was like family.
Oh, it's nice.
You know, a whole bunch of, I mean, they were young adults, 20s and I think up to 27, but it was nice having them. And a couple of them have come back to New York, stayed with us. A couple of the kids, they live in the neighborhood, so when their parents come to visit them,
that's nice.
Their parents stay here in the Airbnbs. So it's just been this like nice connection. And then I have now a French daughter. Because her family, she was going to school here, and her family stayed for like 3 weeks. They got her an apartment, but she lived like maybe 2 blocks away. And she would come here. She came, I don't know, you don't do Thanksgiving with us. You do it in Queens with your family.
Yeah.
With your grandparents. But we did Thanksgiving. She came for Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's nice.
She just went back to France June. She just went back. She was here for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So she would come for, we would go out to dinner. She would come to the house to hang out. I'm trying to get her, Josh was performing in Paris next week.
Really?
So I'm trying to get her to go see him in Paris. So we get people that become family. You know, another girl, she was from Russia. Her dad is the one that called me. Okay. She's here. She still lives in Williamsburg, so we meet up occasionally and hang out. She spent Thanksgiving with us 1 year too.
That's nice.
So it's just it makes the world so much smaller.
Yeah. People that you're able to vibe with, and sometimes you wouldn't expect that you would have anything vibeable.
Exactly.
But because I just need some place to stay for a little bit.
And then I think the misconceptions people have about people of color, just in general, whatever they've seen on TV or whatever they've heard. Now you're living in a house with people of color, you know, and
black people.
Now black people, and now you can decide on your own from your own personal experience who they are, and not what you've heard or seen, or you know. So we've left with people coming kind of like, "Hi, how you doing?" and then leaving hugging you and you know wrapping Pilates dreads around their head because now they're.
I don't know about that now.
Yes, it's happened. Yes, it has happened. I've got pictures.
I believe it.
And I have pictures. So Pele is my husband, and he has dreads. So it's very interesting. He's got babies in his arms, you know. All kinds of things happen.
They attach themselves.
Exactly.
Like we have black friends now.
Exactly. So it's interesting and it's good.
Yeah,
it's
because
good.
you can feel when someone is doing it from a place of I've never had this experience before versus when they're like, oh, now I can tell everybody about you. It's like, it's not the girl. There's difference.
There's a different authenticity, and you feel it.
So, what kind of like real shitty experiences have you had? Have you had any like?
I don't particularly like young people staying.
Okay, my young people.
20-ishes, 20-ish. Because you have to remind them that it's not a Motel 6, that they're actually staying with people. Okay. And it's not all, because I've had some amazing 20-somethings. But some 20-somethings are not ready for this experience. I had a young guy, and it's all about what you share with them, how you teach them. Because I have 20-somethings, I know how to talk to 20-somethings. So his family lived, I think, somewhere in Brooklyn, and he booked with us. And like I said, we have 2 apartments. So I'm always mindful of, like noise. Not you can move around, but just mindful of there are other people in the space. Not so much us, but other guests in the space. So he was here, and then it became like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm hearing the gate open and close. 2 o'clock in the morning. I look outside, somebody with red hair, and I see somebody with blonde hair, and I'm like, okay, this is not a brothel. Yeah, this is not no. And then it's just noise, and people had to say, this is not that kind of place. Because, I'm a mother, so I said, if you don't go upstairs and tell that little boy that this is not, I'm going to go, and he's not going to like me when I come upstairs. So Peter said, and he apologized profusely, and ended up staying an extra day, because, I don't know if his flight was canceled, something went awry, and he needed to stay another day. But once we said what we needed to say to him, he kind of understood that it was not that kind of environment. And because we have neighbors, so we're ever so mindful of our neighbors as well. We don't want people hanging out in front of the house because we don't want our neighbors, to have to experience something because of us. Yeah. So we're always hyper vigilant about who's booking, who's staying, not because of any color, gender, but because we're mindful of the people around us in our neighborhood.
Who live here. This is as much their block as it is your block.
Exactly.
Your guests are guests here in this space. And not like,
And other guests that we have inside the house, so we can't have a family, a mother and a father and 2 kids, and you have people, it's not that. And we put that in our listing that, we have 2 apartments, so it's important for us to be mindful of, traffic, that kind of thing, going on. Because it's a different kind of experience. If you want to be in a hotel, then you book a hotel. You have a different kind of privacy. But when you're in someone's house, it's different.
Yeah, that's why I prefer having the entire house to myself so that I can have my host come, with ease and not, trample through other people's.
Yeah, so that.
I'm joking, by the way.
You're so silly.
I'm joking, by the way. I love how you didn't even flinch. Yeah. I appreciate you accepting me.
Yeah, exactly. Because, and then I have people that try to be slick sometimes. They'll say, it's two people, and then when they always say, oh, how do we get the key? How do we get the key? Because some people don't live on the premises, like we've discussed. But we live on the premises, because in New York City, you're supposed to live on the premises, wherever you're hosting. Mm-hmm. So they'll want to know how to get the key. And I said, oh, my husband or I will greet you at the door because we want to know who's in our house. We want to let you know that we're here, that we're present in the building. And they'll say, oh, is it okay if we have another guest? You booked for 4 people and now you got 7. Stop it.
And then and if you can fit 7 people, do you allow if they can fit 7 people?
No. Okay. I was just being facetious because it's never, we don't have room for 7 people. But if you book for 2 people, then 2 people should be here. Mm-hmm. If you're going to book for 4 people, then put 4 people down because it's also a thing of security. We need to know who's in our house.
You're right.
So God forbid something happens, there's 2 people and then now 4 people are walking out and,
Or if there's, say, it'd be like a fire or something. It's like, okay, the 2 are here. That's it. Don't worry about it. Don't go back in. Well, it's 2 people.
Yeah.
So
I always say that I'm going to backtrack. We went to Arizona. I told you to.
Oh yeah, we had
Cody's. Yeah, and I'm a New Yorker, and I'm always a New Yorker. And every time I go somewhere, I say, "Oh, it's nice, but I couldn't live here. I live in New York."
Okay, they got snakes and scorpions.
But no, Arizona we went, and I had a great time. Because I stayed with Doreen and Cody. We did. If I wanted to jump off a plane, Doreen would have taken me to jump off the plane. Mm-hmm. They have a fabulous pool in their backyard. Every morning I would wake up and luxuriate.
Yeah, I remember that.
And get in the pool and enjoy life. And then I realized it's not so much where you are; it's about the quality of life.
Okay.
And we started off with Airbnb because we needed an additional income. So, because of Airbnb, it's allowed us a different quality of life. We don't have to run and work 4 jobs. Mm-hmm. We allow. We work within the house, but we work within our house.
Right.
I think in New York, it's so much hustle and bustle that goes on day to day. It's nice to enjoy life a little bit.
Yeah. To not have to work so hard so that you can have a day a month to enjoy what you've earned.
I know. I'm a teacher. I'm an itinerary teacher, so I travel from different schools, throughout the borough. And I usually have like 50 hours and 40 hours, and I'm running all over. I'm seeing 7 cases, and I'm running all over the place. And this September, I have 3 cases. I have 30 hours. And I said, you know what? That's all. I'm good.
Yeah. Because
it's a mindset, too. Like, you're so used to doing one thing that I have 3 cases. And I said, I don't have to.
Right.
I don't need 6 cases. I don't need to run around until 6 o'clock at night. Like, I'm good. And I'm good because we're doing the Airbnb. So, it's like, it's important to have, enjoy the quality of life.
I think that's a good point. This way you don't have to, you could also travel more now.
Exactly.
I flip everything back to,
and that's most definitely, I love to travel. And that's definitely, what we do and what we'll do more of. Mm-hmm. We will do a lot more traveling. And just, sometimes even just simply enjoying your space. Mm-hmm. I don't have to run around because I enjoy my house. I can lay across my bed and read my book and I'm good.
Yeah.
So it's just whatever your quality of life is, you can do that.
As opposed to working, do something that makes you happy.
Exactly.
So how can people, and you guys only rent through Airbnb. There's no other
we do home away as well. That's another
okay. So it's like what is it, like a home sharing space? Is that?
It's the same thing as Airbnb. It's home sharing. Airbnb, home away, they're both here, home sharing networks.
Okay. So people can book with you there. I'll definitely have the link in the description box. You can also go to dcarry.com because, of course, all associated links. That's pretty much it, guys.
That was cute saying the day.
This is what I do.
I like it.
I'm glad you
maybe now that I have time, I can do.
Yes, you can.
I can do a little podcast.
Check you out.
Okay. Hey. I got the time now.
Right, because you have time to
I have
do
time
things
to
you
do
want
things
because
I
of
want.
Airbnb. See that?
Exactly.
Get you an Airbnb. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.